Sterling. That's a penalty, is it? No, he's still going. Oh, how about that? How about that? Carried on into the penalty area. Here he is. And then Giroud. What a goal. Brilliantly worked. Fantastically finished.
Here's Ramsey. And Alexis Sanchez. Great footwork. 3-0. Liverpool blown away. A 3-goal, 8-minute Arsenal blast.
Alexis blocked by Newcastle defender. Still not clear. Wow, what a volley. Where others failed, Ozil has succeeded. Well done, Arteta. Plenty of hits here.
Yes! Arsenal have their breakthrough. Mikel Arteta. They deserve it.
Oh, they're behind again. It's amazing. It's Aaron Ramsey. That's the response of Arsenal. Iwobi, nicely done. Brilliantly done. Bayer in, Walcott. Sensational Arsenal goal.
Is that a handball? No. Nothing the play can do. Great, what a goal! Arsenal have made it 3-0. Jack Wilshere with an absolute thunderbolt.
Hello, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're listening. Welcome to the Clock End Talk. I'm your host, Tez. You can get me at Guna Tez. You get the podcast at Arsenal CET Podcast. Fuck, that's a mouthful every week. Okay, welcome everybody, and we will have Addy. He'll be joining with us shortly, but I'll bring in Tony. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. And you say it as a mouthful, like it wasn't you that created it.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd run with it, Arsenal, CET for the Clock End Talk podcast. But then I'm like,
I get it.
That one through.
There's no one sitting here saying, "Oh, I really don't understand that name." We all understand it.
It's just a fucking mouthful. I apologise. We were going to record yesterday, but I had a couple of things come up. So I said to the boys, we can go Thursday. And I thought, look, we don't really have a game. I'm going to touch on the Aston Villa game. Oh, I say Austin, Americans. I'm going to touch on the Villa game. We'll get everybody's thoughts there, and hopefully by that stage, Addy will be in. I'm also going to talk about a little bit of headlines, Tony, with Saliba. So we'll go on through that later. There is also a few questions on Twitter, and those who are listening live, you can listen live on YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch this week, so you can get your questions, drop your questions there as we're going along. Okay, Tony, Villa, mate, when the squad came out, your thoughts there, buddy?
Yeah, I think it was as expected. I think I said on the podcast a few days before that we'd done that maybe I would have brought Odegaard in for Smith Rowe just because of freshness. But apart from that, I think it was as expected. Gabriel was always going to come in for Luiz. Ryan, obviously, we needed in. We didn't know if he was going to be fit. He was. So, yeah, I think all of us would have picked the same team with what was available.
Yeah. And look, I'm going to, here in Australia, everybody was happy Matty Ryan was starting for the Arsenal. And look, he says it was a dream come true and whatnot. And here in Australia, it was all the headlines. And I don't know if you boys got it over there, but Optus Sports, they do like they're the broadcaster here of the Premier League. So they've done a little video on all his saves for the game. And it was pretty big news here in Australia. Like it's not often. I'm trying to think of a couple of players, probably Harry Kewell, and Tim Cahill were the two main Aussies that were starting week in, week out in the Premier League, and so it was good. It was good to see Matty Ryan. Your thoughts on his debut, though?
I'm just going to skip ahead to part of my 3-2-1. He was our best player by a mile.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to say. I didn't want to upset you. I didn't want you to spoil it, But anyway, I didn't.
Well, you asked me about him. What would you want me to say? If I think he's our best player, then it's obvious he's going to get the free later on. Yeah.
Okay. No, it was really good. He was excellent. I couldn't. It's fucking. Yeah. I'm just so happy for the bloke. It's really really good. look out, Australia do produce good footballers, eh?
Well, that's going a bit ahead of yourselves.
Tony, I was saying, this is a couple of days after obviously playing. I've never come out of a game. I don't like people talk about the Manchester United game with a draw. I did catch a few podcasts during the week last week, and they were very, very disappointed. And I was that game. I was like, well, that I wasn't overly fussed. We walked away with one point. This game for me really hurt this time of season because I felt we needed to take something out of it. The podcast before this game, I said, this is very crucial for for the end of season and where we are sitting on the ladder and whatnot. But this game hurt me, mate. This game hurt me losing this game.
Yeah, I mean, just spoiled it for everyone. So, spoiler, we lost. Yeah, do you know, it's a weird one because I know we're going to go deeper into the game, but I don't think we was anywhere near it. It's weird. You look online and people were split. Some say, oh, we didn't play too bad and we was a bit unlucky and things didn't go our way and whatnot. And I'm in that camp. And then there's other people that, oh, we were terrible. It's back to what we was in the middle of December where we was losing to everyone and couldn't score. See, I didn't think it was that bad. The result's painful, but all that gives us comfort or gives me comfort in this time is, with this league that 3 or 4 wins, if you can manage to piece them together, and I'm not saying that's easy, that gets you back into the European race again and people start mentioning you. So to be honest, I don't think I've seen any game yet as crucial. I know what you mean. I know you're saying, oh, we now look like we're a bit cut adrift, but what was we in December 15th and we weren't even cut adrift. We was on a different ship. I know. And then suddenly 3 weeks later, it was like, oh, we're only 3 points off this, and if we win our next game, then this. So I'm not massively beat up about the result. I don't see it as a key game. So I've not seen anything as a key game yet. But then again, on the performance, for me, it was, I'm not saying it's fantastic. I thought we was a bit unlucky. I thought the ref was horrible. And on another day, you can win them games. The only problem is we've had a lot of them games this season where you come away going, oh, on another day, we would have won that.
Yeah, look, and the only thing is, look, Manchester City, remember the first half of the season, everybody was, and I think I was like, Pep is, hey, Snow's really pissed off over there at the moment. What's going on?
His fucking head's gone. The tenant hoovered earlier, and he hates the hoover, so now he's not stopped barking since. Literally. Does anyone want a dog? Anyone? Like, come and get him.
He's not happy. Look, and where I say on the ladder is Manchester City. Well, it's a matter of time before they start running away with this league, and you could actually say they have now. Like here, they sit on 50 points. I looked at a couple of seasons ago. Liverpool, they hit 100 points. Remember that season? And they didn't win the league, and I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if we're going to get anywhere near 100 points this season, but Manchester City are starting to, they're on 50 points, Man United 45. But this loss now puts us, and I'm not worried about position of the ladder because that can change at, like you said, the drop of the hat. But my worry is starting to look at the top 4. When you look at 43 with Leicester, Liverpool on 40, but then from literally Chelsea down to us is so wide. It's all thereabouts. Like we're 4 points away from 4 points and things like that. And that's where I start getting a little bit worried. I think, look, forget the league. And I think Jack said a few weeks ago that, we might be still in hunt for winning the league. Look, forget it. Forget that. Forget second. I'm more focused on third and fourth, and that result hurts because it would have put us up to 34 points. We would have been thereabouts a little bit, but that was where I was kind of coming from. So yeah. Addy, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, guys. Sorry for the lateness. How you all doing?
Good, mate. Good, buddy. Good. No, that's fine, mate. Yeah, we're just talking about the Villa game. I was just discussing on how disappointed I was with this result because of where it puts us to the ladder, and Tony was okay, but he it wasn't probably didn't hurt as much as what I'm hurting at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, with me, it was, as I said, I looked at the games in blocks, and I saw this one as it could be winnable, but at the same time was going to also be hard. So with the form, with the Wolves game, I actually marked this down as a really, really hard game. But I was excited by the lineup, but then disappointed with how we played, and again, some of the decision making was poor. We didn't really test Martinez within the game, and I was upset by the result because it just we're falling behind where everybody's moving away. Like a couple of weeks ago, everyone's like, "Oh, yep, Chelsea's close, or Tottenham's close." Well, we need them to drop points for us to catch up. But then again, if you look at our next 7 fixtures, we've got a hard task in trying to keep up and win all them fixtures, and hope that other teams are going to drop fixtures and to let us climb up the table.
Just on the flip side of that, them 7 fixtures, they're difficult, but they're against the teams around us. So you say, you got a difficult job in winning them and catching up. By nature, if you win them, you catch up because they can't get 3 points if you do.
Agreed. But then at the same time, I would say I think every team above us has at least a game or 2 games in hand.
Yeah. I'm not disputing your point at all. I'm just saying.
I agree with you. I also agree with you with the point you're making. But that's just it. Like it's just we had a nice run of form. I think 4 games in the Prem, but we needed it to be 10 games, 12 games, and that now we're seeing the blips again. And then, so yeah, obviously I'm upset. Villa defended really well, and that was that. But we didn't test Martinez as much. Odegaard should have scored. Like we had chances in that game. I feel to get a goal or really put them under pressure, but we just didn't push that much more.
Addy, I might, like you talk about our upcoming games with Leeds. We had Villa. Look, I would have loved to win that game against Villa. I'd love to win this game against Leeds. Then I look, Manchester City. I can't see 3 points there, and I don't think I can see 3 points against Leicester City either. Burnley and then Tottenham, I can see us nipping maybe 5 points there, or 3 points against Burnley, hopefully, and even a draw against Tottenham, it gives us 1 point. But that's where I don't want to jump the gun, but I just thought, mate, everybody would love the win on that game. Then these 2 games, I thought Leeds and Villa, they're tough games. They're tough games.
And to be fair, looking at it, I think we could really say Tottenham and Leeds are around us. Tony, everybody else, like Man City's not near us, Leicester isn't near us. Obviously, Burnley's below us, and then obviously we've got West Ham, and then we've got Liverpool, even though Liverpool aren't as great as they were last season. Obviously, they're still going to be a threat. So again, there are opportunities. Can we got Leicester aren't in as good of a form as they were at the start of the season? Could we get a point there? But then that's the thing. It just depends on what Arsenal's going to turn up, what tactics are we going to use, who are we going to play. That's just that's the question, and it's like, were the last 2 games just a blip and we're just going to go back to normal, or are we going to go in that losing rot again like we were 3 months ago? That's the question that we need to answer ourselves.
I've never really seen a season like this. I look at these games and I can't there's no easy games for us. Like, we are now that club who we're in amongst it. Like, Manchester City probably look at their fans, probably look and go, look, we got Burnley, we got Arsenal, we got Newcastle, we got Brighton. You know, they look at them easy, I guess, if you can find a Manchester City fan. But as an Arsenal fan, I fucking, Jesus Christ. And maybe we're not used to it, boys. I don't know. We've had a pretty good run.
But you're basically saying Man City are better than us. I think we all knew that. Of course, they find games easier than we do. They're a good team, and we're not. It's not. That's not. I mean, that shouldn't be a shock to anyone.
Yeah. Okay. Getting back into this game, Martinez. He got the man of the match, didn't he?
See, I think he did, but no. I think, was it not Tyrone Mings? Well, Sky Sports gave it to Tyrone Mings.
It was BT gave it to Mings. Fantasy Premier League gave it to Martinez, but it's algorithm in it. I don't know what their fucking algorithm is.
Yeah, for me it was I think their right back, their left back, Mings were solid. Like, Konsa should have got sent off, in my opinion, in the first half. And he was a shaky one.
Let's discuss these in a bit of detail, these key facts. So, Tony, I'll go to you with the goal, the only goal that was scored, and like, spoiler for those who haven't watched it, we did lose 1-0. Yeah, Tony?
Yeah, it's just a massive shit show around. I don't think the focus was there so early on. And there's a slice of bad luck. Cedric's ball back to Gabriel isn't good enough. But Gabriel does himself no favours. He's calling for the ball to come back to him, but then stands still on his heels. And he knows his only option is to clear that ball. So you want to be running at it anyway. The reason he's getting a pass is probably because even if he was sprinting, he wouldn't have got there anyway. But I don't know what he's doing. My biggest gripe with him, and I don't think many other fans agree with me, or they haven't recognised it yet, or they don't want to recognise it, is he's on the front foot too much, always trying to nick the ball in front of people when it's not there. I've been moaning about it with him for weeks. The one time you want him to be on his front foot, he's chilling on his back foot, and then Bertrand Traore pisses around him. Too easy for me. The cross comes in. I've seen people blaming Holding for not being touch tight, but Watkins is sharp, and I don't think Holding's wrong, because if he goes touch tight, the ball gets spun in behind, and Watkins gets a tap in. At least with the ball that came in, it makes it a bit hard for Watkins in that he's got two people. He's got a defender and the keeper in front of him. If Holding goes tight on Watkins, then Watkins has a tap in at the back post. So for me, there's no blame on Holding. And then obviously Watkins gets lucky, completely scuffs his shot. Keeper would have saved it easy. Deflects, and one of them agonising rolls in where it seems like it takes 25 minutes to get in the goal, but you know it's going there. Like, there was the moment it hit Holding, that was it. But poor from Cedric, he's the main error. As I said, I don't, even if Gabriel would have done everything perfectly, he probably at best would have been in a position to foul Traore. But it's just annoying for me from Gabriel. And then for me it's unlucky with Holding rather than a mistake. But I understand a lot of other people don't agree with that.
Your thoughts, Eddie?
Yeah, obviously Tony summed it up perfectly. The only thing with me with the Holding one, it's just smelling the danger. That was it. So obviously he could say, "Look, I got a blocking," and the deflection just took it away. And to be fair, he did attempt and did do something to actually try and prevent a goal from happening. It's not like that Mustafi situation. I think Mustafi versus Crystal Palace, where he had no clue who was behind him, and then someone nipped in front of him and scored. I think it was Crystal Palace at home. But then there
was a Southampton at home.
Southampton, sorry, yeah. Sorry, thank you. So it wasn't like he was unaware of what the danger was, but then obviously it's just getting into just analysing a little bit earlier to say, okay, could I potentially make that cross to Watkins a little bit harder, or something like that. That was the only thing I think I would throw at Holding in that situation. But
Can I just go a bit on why I think he did smell the danger? Because for me, if he goes tight to Watkins, then the ball just goes straight along the 6-yard box and Watkins spins in behind him for an absolute tap-in. So, as I said, I get what you're saying, and I get people saying, "Oh, he could have smelt danger," but I thought what he done was probably the best option. And look, when it ends up in a goal, you're always going to go, "Oh, you should have done the other thing." It's like when you call heads and it comes out tails, you say, "I should have chose tails." But for me, I think he done the right. Like if that happened again on when we playing Saturday, Sunday, whatever day it is, I would probably want him to do the same thing again.
Cool. But yeah, that was it. Other than that, yeah, Matt Ryan, no chance. Once it took the deflection, no chance. Or again, no blame on him. But yeah, Gabriel flat-footed. Again, now the pass from Cedric screwed him over. But then, yeah, it was just like, again, that reaction. But there, that there's nothing more to add on that from my point of view.
And you boys were pretty fucking lenient on Cedric there. Like, I'll be honest, like, come on. Like, it's schoolboy stuff. Like, you don't pass back towards goal. Like, I think anyone who's played football is taught that at the age of fucking 5.
I have no problem with that ball. I have the problem with the execution of it.
Yes, that's it. I agree. Totally agree.
It's all he has on. He's got his back. He's back to goal with a defender next to him. The only ball he has on is to lay it back to his centre back to smash it clear. The angle was wrong and he underhit it. But I think the actual idea was not wrong. And again, what I would want him to do again and again, if that happens, if that same opportunity or situation happens in our next 10 games, I'd want him to do not the execution, but the idea. I'd want that every time.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want him just clearing it? Just kick the fucking thing out, regroup, and then defend.
Well, the way he is there, it would have been a swinger with his left foot, which easily could have hit someone and gone in behind anyway, or put it out for a corner. Like, for me, I want him to play a 2-yard ball. Look, if he doesn't, this never ever gets mentioned if he doesn't fuck up the 2-yard ball.
Yeah.
For me, the choice of pass, there's absolutely no problem. And that would be, if I was playing that on a computer game, those are the buttons I'd press. Play the 2-yard ball to the centre.
And it's true. And it's the thing, like, Gabriel called for it as well. So it wasn't like we don't know what's gonna. He wanted it, but as Tony said, like the execution of the pass was totally off. The weight of it, the angle was totally off, and so that's where you'd say to Cedric, "Okay, cool, still do that pass, but it has to be accurate next time." Because we want to keep possession, and that's the whole aim of getting the ball and playing it backwards so we can keep possession, and then we can go around the opposite way if we can't go out down his side. So that again, what he wanted to do was the correct thing, but yeah, the execution was poor.
Okay, couple of yellow cards. Arsenal got one, yellow for Party. Oh, Granite got one later in the game as well, Tony. But before that, we'll go into half time. Look, I'm not.
Wait, no, we're not going to half time.
Wait, Addy's going to pull his hair out if you don't mention this.
Yeah.
Go on, Addy.
So obviously, again now you've got Bukayo Saka put through. And Konsa totally takes him out. And one of the most laughable things I heard over the weekend, I think it was Dermot Gallagher. Dermot Gallagher's ITV X Factor guy.
It was Dermot Gallagher. It was Dermot Gallagher.
Okay, yeah. So he was like, "Oh, you know what? It's actually a foul on Konsa, Saka foul." I was like, I don't understand these referees and what they see and how they view the game, because for me, that's a red card. Saka's through and go. No one's catching him. Nobody's catching him. The Konsa ain't catching him, and that's a goal scoring opportunity. He was last man. What he was also saying, that he went for the ball as well. But to be fair, for me, he took him out.
Also, again, just to cut in, going for the ball, I know it's been a big thing recently. That only matters in the area because of the double jeopardy. Outside of the area, it doesn't matter if you're going for the ball or not.
Doesn't matter. So for me, it was a sending off. But it's just the lack of consistency from all these referees, and the fact that he actually gave the foul, and they gave him a yellow card. So
Yeah,
okay,
give
cool.
him yellow. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he gave
forgot
him,
about
he
it.
gave him a yellow card. Now, what was it? 3-4 minutes later, ball came into Lacazette. Lacazette let it off. Late challenge in the back of Lacazette. Nothing. Again, the consistency of all these and this is all in the first half. Consistencies of all the referees in this Premier League is poor, and it's costing us points. And where we're getting red cards and yellow cards for less fouls. I think we haven't even committed the less. We've committed the least fouls, or one of the least fouls in the league, but we have one of the highest red card ratings, and it's crazy. And when you're comparing things that other teams are getting yellow cards for example, Diaz's yellow card against Liverpool for the penalty, and then Luiz's red card last season against Man City. Again, it's laughable that nothing is consistent. But yeah, for me, it's a straight red for Conte.
Yeah, the problem is here, and the Premier League. Look, the refereeing has dropped down massively. The days of when we would sit here and argue, was it a red, wasn't it a red? Them days are well and truly gone. Like for me, if you don't have VAR, I accept that yellow, we move on. Okay, I know you're frustrated, it's a red. But for fuck's sake, if you're going to have these cunts sitting up in the fucking box, looking through fucking video, make the decision. And that's what people are getting pissed off about. Go back to and I said it fucking well before we had VAR, because I've seen it here in Australia for fuck knows how long, constantly fuck up. It's come to a point where they've actually got, I think, 6 referees sitting in a fucking bunker trying to make a decision. It just constantly goes on. And the consistency of fuck-ups is what we're getting consistent about here. We're not getting decisions right. That David Luiz read a couple of weeks ago, I seen, was it you, Tony, who shared something on our account with Mahrez? And I seen another one there, and I thought, wow, like it's fucking laughable, boys. Like the state of the refereeing in this league has just become something you'd see from a third world country. It's pathetic.
I'm gonna probably be a bit opposite here. I'm not entirely sure that's a red card, to be honest. But then the problem is, in isolation, I'm not sure that's a red card. As Tez said, I tweeted it, and as Addy said, when you look at the pull on Mahrez last year that Luis got sent off for, when you look at Diaz not getting sent off, and look, for me, there is no way Diaz is a red card. Like I said that at the time. I actually tweeted, there is no way this is a red card, but and that's the problem. Like I completely agree with the decision to not send Diaz off, and I'm in agreement that Konsa was a bit iffy. If it had been a red, you'd probably go a bit harsh, and if it's not a red, you go, oh, it could have been a red. That it's that kind of challenge for me. But then you look at other things that are happening. I think the first game of the season, Villa had someone sent off against Sheffield United, similar to what Konsa done. I think it was Watkins running through, and one of the Sheffield United centre-backs, I can't remember what one, they're all the same, White, Brexit, Labour, like one of them guys pulled someone back, and it was a red card 2 minutes into the first game of the season, or both them two teams' first game of the season. So it's annoying because I kind of sit here like, oh, I kind of agree with the decision, but also I can point out 10 decisions that I didn't agree with. Exactly the same thing happened. The one that Addy's going on about, the foul on Lacazette through the back, he didn't even give a free kick. I'm not sure if he played advantage. I don't think he did. Like, we had the ball, so it's hard to know, but he didn't signal for advantage. And that's, sometimes advantage is not an advantage because the rest let it go and it doesn't stay in their mind. If Lacazette would have smashed that ball into Rose Ed, we get a free kick then, and then the ref's like, oh, it's another foul by Konsa, and maybe he doesn't get booked for that one, but the next time he even blinks, he's gone. Whereas now we've got the ball on the halfway line. There's no benefit to that. There is no advantage, in air quotes, but it's not a foul by Konsa in the ref's head. So,
yeah, because that's what, for me, it's like he didn't even think it was a foul. He did, because I didn't see him put his arm up to say advantage or anything. It was But
No, there definitely was a thingy.
Yeah, there definitely was. Konsa was definitely in the first half on Lacazette through the back. That's
100%. 100%. There wasn't a foul given, so no one was.
Yeah,
I think there was, wasn't there?
not on Lacazette.
There was 100% a foul by Konsa on Lacazette that I'm pretty sure wasn't given. Or whether, as I said, he may have signalled advantage. Then the Campbell one, he came back to after.
Oh, it was on Saka, wasn't it?
Saka. Yeah, Saka got assaulted in the first half, and it's another thing that as Arsenal fans,
yes,
because
we've seen it way too much as just the young English talent just getting the shit kicked out of them, and the league letting it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was insane. They're just taking it turns, and the Nakamba foul was on Saka that got him booked. But I think that was brought back. But as Addy said, and anyone can go and search it if they want, but just trust me, there was a foul by Konsa on Lacazette that wasn't given. Hey
boys, Jack Grealish, he absolutely look. There was one section, one bit there just before halftime where he grabbed Saka by the shirt, and I thought, "Fuck, Saka was getting smashed by him." I don't know if you remember it because it's a couple of days old. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched the replay.
They were taking it turns. It was rotational foul.
Yes, it was. Yes, yeah. I remember it.
He's getting smashed, and I remember screaming at the TV, "Fucking book him!" Like, he had a word with him. The referee did have a word with him. He might have said, "Oh, whatever, fucking enough's enough." But like at them points, shouldn't throw him a yellow card for fuck's sake. Like, if you're having a word with him, like, this is the standard of refereeing, boys. It's gone out the fucking window.
I totally agree.
The thing is, this ref, and everyone should know this, or the players should know this. And I tweeted it after the game, and I had a few replies, bitter Arsenal fans, blah, 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 from other Arsenal fans, by the way. Like, this ref is what I like to call a remote control ref. You shout loud enough, he gives the decision. And Villa, they were shouting for, they were shouting for absolutely everything. Like, and I don't blame them, but regardless of what happened, they were shouting. So then it just puts pressure on. With us, the only person you could hear on the pitch mic shouting was Arteta. Hear him shouting all the time. Players, not a thing. Like, Tottenham are 2-1 down. They were 1-0 up 2 minutes ago. This ref you just have to shout for stuff with him. And they were, you could hear, obviously, with no crowd as well, you could hear on the mics at any time anything happened. Like, there was one, I can't remember what it was, and it's not a party booking, so I'm going to talk about that later. But there was another time, and if anything, maybe no decision was the right decision, but if you're going to give a decision, it was a foul to us. I can't remember what it was, but they shouted, and the ref's given it their way. And I just remember thinking, what have you even given? Like, what? Please tell me your reasoning why you have given them a free kick for this incident, whatever it was. It's just baffling, but they played the game and we didn't. And then you get some idiot saying, "Oh, you need to not moan and just play the game and let the refs do their job." No, when the refs are clearly influenced by people shouting, start shouting. We're in a game of marginal gains. 1%, 2% can make the difference. Like, we spent 10 minutes talking about a Cedric pass that was probably 3 degrees off of where it should have been. And that's ended up costing us the game. And then other people don't want you to shout at the refs. Shut up, man.
And the problem is now, with all these refereeing decisions, already, I think 2 days after, people are looking at who's appointed the ref for the next game. And the referee should be a non-factor in our matches.
I would like to know how much the referee, like when these bookie companies are setting odds, they would look at the referee and go, "Hey, Arsenal never win many games there. Let's make them $2.20 instead of $1.20." You know what I mean? Like, they have to be.
and the funny thing, I think, obviously, I read the tweet. I think they said that they've only officiated 1 Premier League match between the 4 officials that are there. So it's even like, and I don't think our win ratio is even good with this referee. So I think, I agree with you. With betting companies are definitely looking at that information, and then at the same time, it's like that shouldn't be us obviously, yeah, you had.
Well, that's where it's come down to, Addy, and that's just. And unfortunately, VAR is here to stay, boys. Nobody's going to go, oh, we fucked up. We should never have brought this in. But the question is now, how do they make it better? And Rohan, regular listener, because he's in Australia as well. So he knows the VAR. He knows the bunker that I'm talking about. And he's asking, do you think this would work in the Premier League? Ex-players in a bunker. And when we say bunker, boys, what it actually is if a game's played in Brisbane, the bunker is a headquarters. It could be in Sydney, right? So the bunker is nowhere near. I can't even think where the bunker is, but it's nowhere near the game.
That's how it is. It's how it is at the moment. It's just not ex-players.
Yeah. So I guess, how do they make this better, boys? Is it not enough power? Because I remember reading the rules, and the VAR can't do some things and can do some things.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I'm going to be probably quite controversial to start with. VAR didn't do anything wrong in this game. Like, it's the traditional thing to bash it. But for me, okay, look, some people think it was a red card, others don't. But that's a subjective decision. So I can sit here and say, I don't think VAR done anything wrong. Addy might sit there and say, I think it's a red card, so they did. But when you got a 50-50 decision like that, you could have players in there, you could have fans in there. It don't matter who you've got in the room. There's going to be someone's going to be upset or someone's going to be wrong. So look, for me, on this game, VAR is not a factor. The consistency of decisions absolutely is. And who's in the VAR? Look, does an ex-player help? Who knows? I mean, the refs are not covering themselves in glory. On paper, you would say, well, a current ref is the perfect guy, because he's up with the current laws. He's managing he's managing games by the like. I mean, he's got fixtures at this intensity 3 days later. So in theory, he should know everything that's going on. The problem is they always back their mate.
No, but then aren't their current because I remember Mike Dean was VR
they're current refs. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They are current
refs.
They are current refs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry.
This is where I think the question comes: should it be ex-players? Because ex-players also know the rules, and you see pundits on TV at halftime.
They don't know the rules.
Yeah. Players don't know the rules, and even these old referees, they don't know the rules, man.
No, I mean, some of them.
Ex-managers, then maybe blokes like an Eddie Howe and Pardew and blokes like that, maybe.
They'll never get a job again. No, they wouldn't. How can the FA allow you to employ someone who's judged their game the week before? Or how can you have contact with that guy? There ain't enough of them about anyway. I think the problem with I would personally make it a job, as in you're not a ref. You're not. I was speaking to Liam about this the other day. For me, because he was saying that how long before Sian Massey gets a chance as a ref because she's got the licenses, and for me, it's a joke. Not Sian Massey, but it's a joke that a linesman and a ref are interchangeable. They're completely different jobs. And for me, VAR should be an independent job, not because it's completely different, although it kind of is, but more because they're all pally-pally. So they don't want to, like, I mean, not John Moss, who was it? The bald guy, I can picture him. I can't remember his name, that told Dean to send off Souček.
I don't know whatever his name is.
Yeah, Lee Mason. Like, he's Mike Dean's pal, so he's going to back his decision or vice versa. And they're all mates. They all go on training camps together or they go on holiday. Like, there was a picture recently of, it must have been last summer, they all went to Thailand on a retreat together. Like John Moss, and they're all there and they all had their little Thai brides. Like, that, you can't have someone who's got someone's back. So for me, a VAR should be a job. You are a VAR. You're not a referee. And you have no contact apart from saying, go look at the screen, this should be a red card or should it be a red card. There's no, like, you don't know him personally. If you know his wife's name, you're sacked. Like, that's it, your job's gone. Your job is, this is a foul, this is not a foul, this is a yellow card, this is a red card. Like, I don't care what your kid's name is, I don't care that you've got death threats last week, your decision's wrong.
Yeah, and to be fair, that I totally agree with that. It should be independent, and the role of the VAR is that to say, okay, there was a foul there, so obviously someone's mentioned the Lacazette one. Go. You've given a free kick against.
Yeah, PM Dungal. PM Dungal. He says, do you think VR should have looked at the Lacquer Martinez foul, Tony or Addy? Anyone?
100%. 100%. Because and that is what I thought VAR was for. When the refs make a clear and obvious error or haven't seen anything, you say
that's what I was going to say. I don't think VAR is there for that. Absolutely. They can't look at them incidents as a single. I don't think.
Yeah, no, you do.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, they can.
Can they?
Yeah, they can. Yeah.
So they can actually overrule the referee on them decisions.
No,
they can tell him to go and look.
That's it.
They can tell him to go and have a look.
To go and have a look. Oh, you've given a foul against Lacazette. Are you sure that's correct? I think you should have another look.
Yeah, but that foul's got to be it's got to happen, and the ref's got to award it before.
No, because it's just like when there's a penalty decision and he says no, the game carries on, and then they say, "Oh, go have a look at the decision that you didn't give." So then once the ball's out of play, then they'll go back.
Ah, okay.
So you can either review it on when there's actually no foul given, or if a foul's given, and so again, which is why they overturn penalties that they gave us penalties. Well, to be fair, they don't really overturn them that much, but that's what they should do. They'll double check if what you've given as a penalty is a penalty. If not, they'll say, "Yeah, no, he dived," like they should have done with Martial. But
yeah, I get that. But what I'm saying is in gameplay, if a player goes down and play continues, can VAR go, "Hey, you better go back and have a look at that isolated incident"?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew that.
Just only if it's in the area. So the VAR works around goals, penalties, offsides, and mistaken identity. And red cards. So that's
around the box or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. No. So if it's on the edge of the yeah, someone can not 2 foot because that's a red card. Someone can absolutely wipe a player out 1 yard outside the area. The VAR can look at it and can't do a thing. That same challenge in the area, the VAR can get involved.
Yeah.
So it's not around the area; it's in the area. And sometimes you do see decisions that are it's a clear foul, but it's wave play on and people lose their head, and it's just because it was on the edge of the area.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Got a couple of questions and points coming through. Rowan says the call for ex-players to be in VAR is because ex-players know all the tactics to get fouls and con the refs, etc. And I see where he's coming from, because I can tell you, referees, coaches, managers, they are the most. If there's a rule change, right? If there's a rule change in a game, they will somehow work around that rule change to benefit them. And that's where I think it's coming into tricks. It happens in the NRL all the time. They change it to. They change a rule to, I don't know, there's only so many reserves on a bench or so many subs or whatever, and they'll actually manipulate that rule in their favour. So little dirty tricks and things like that. So maybe that does. I don't know. An ex-player and a referee in a box. Thoughts on that, boys?
What's the point? Who gets the final decision? Whoever it is, just have them.
Yeah.
If ref says no, player says yes, then whoever gets the final decision, just have that guy anyway. Like, what's the point of having 2 people?
And the problem is, imagine us 3 in a box. Every week we sometimes agree, we sometimes 2 agree, 1 disagrees.
This is why I'm not mad about the Saka decision, but then there's other things like the Souček decision that there is only 2 people in the world that think that's a red card, and probably only 1 person in the world, but then the other one's his mate and he's got to back him. It's like when you're in a club and your mate's been a dick and someone starts on him, you know your mate's a dick, but you have to back him. Like, it is what it is, but that can't be. We're talking about a professional game, not someone spilling a drink over someone in a bar.
Yeah,
I think you've got to give them more power. And I know this sounds very stupid.
Give who more power?
The VAR more power. I think because, like as we just explained, like the VAR can call something if it's going to be a goal in the box, an isolated incident. But halfway up the field, nothing can be done. So you've kind of give VAR a little bit of power, and you've said, oh, you rule on this area of the game, but you're not allowed to rule on this area over here that the referee may have missed. And I'm talking to maybe like Jack Grealish when he the shirt pull on Saka. I don't know if that was
I disagree with you. I mean, I don't want a VAR every decision. Like, they take long enough as it is. They can't have every decision. It's for game-changing moments. Okay, they could maybe add one or two things that are game-changing. Maybe they should be allowed to look at second yellows in both giving and rescinding them. Because sometimes you see Lucas sending us.
If you got a bloke, Tony, up top, you got to trust him to look at that video. You got to have a bloke. Hey, look, why do we have to stop the game?
See, now,
well, of course you have to stop the game. They have to look at it.
Yeah, to look.
He's already looked at it.
No, but you have to remember.
They're watching the game.
You have to remember who I think was it not Mourinho? It was either Mourinho or Klopp. Someone was like, "We have a referee on the pitch who's not the referee. We don't want to take that away from the sport of football. The referee on the pitch should be making the final decisions. The VAR, which is a video assistant referee, should be there to assist the referee." Now, I
made this point continuously last year when the refs weren't going to the monitors. I said they're no longer referees anymore.
Exactly, they're no longer referees, and then now it's like they flipped it the other way. Like, they should still have the power to even overrule, but then they should actually still listen to the VAR referee, video assistant referees, when they say, "Okay, I have something for you. Go and review it."
That's what they do in theory. In theory, that's what they're actually doing now.
Yeah, this is where it becomes a mess.
No, I don't. Look, the decisions they're making are a joke. What the power the VAR has, I have absolutely no problem with.
100%.
Like,
100%.
As I said, you can't start looking at every foul, and then if a team scores from a corner, do you go back and check, was it a corner or was there a double deflection, or same with a free kick, or 10 minutes before that goal, there was a little trick that the ref didn't give that would be insignificant at any other time, but now it's not insignificant because the goals come from it. For me, what they can and judge on is fine. I have their mandate, I have absolutely no problem with. The way it's being done and the fact that they're just backing each other, it makes it pointless.
It goes back to what I said at the start. Just fuck the VAR off. Go back to the old school decisions, but that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. We can sit here for hours trying to fucking fix it, but yeah.
Well, I know you're trying to get off the VAR. Well, no, it's not even a VAR; it's a referee thing. And we've done the first half now. That Thomas Partey booking is amongst one of the worst bookings I've ever seen. And again, it comes from Villa shouting. McCampbell went down. I'm not going to lie. In real time, I was like, shit, Partey's going to get sent off. But I didn't see what happened. Partey's running at speed, and McCampbell's gone down like he's broke his neck, elbow, arm, leg, ankle, face, everything. The way he went down, rolling, screaming, their whole team screaming. I was like, and then I see it. What? Like, you know, you see a replay and you're like, what? Like,
this is it. That was it.
And he gets a booking. Like, it's not a VAR problem. And as I said, I don't want VAR looking at everything. But just shout for everything. Like, Partey should have lost that ball and jumped on the floor and started shouting.
Yeah, but you say, and I totally get where you're coming from, right? And I don't want to be hung up on VAR, but we are talking about it. And we're talking about the Partey incident now. But this point now, right, he gets a yellow, okay? He got the booking, which we all say, fucking the joke of a booking. Next game, so let's say hypothetically, he gets another yellow later on in that game. There's a red card for him. So we miss a key player for a game. And all because of some fuckwit referee with his fucking useless bookings. Do we just take that as, well, that's the game? That's just
you have to, because you can't have for every booking the ref go into the monitor. Look, we know if the ref goes to the monitor, it takes at least a minute, and I'm being generous. So I'm going to call it a minute to try and even up the argument. I've seen games comfortably with 10 bookings. Do you want a minute, and not even just the amount of time, the momentum, the whole flow of the game stops? Like, look at international friendlies when you make 6 subs, because they take so long that the game's finished. The moment more than 2 subs come on, just blow the final whistle. Like, we all know that. Anyone that's watched football seriously, just, the game's done. So we can't be having that. And look, as I said, it's a tough one because they could maybe extend what the VAR can look at in terms of second yellows because they lead to a red card. But what if the first one was never a yellow and then the second one is, and they go, well, this one is, so we've got to send him off? Then that becomes stupid. So I understand the blanket rule. Okay, we don't look at yellows. I understand it. But we can't be going to look at for every, because then where's it stop? Oh, it wouldn't have been a yellow, but it was right on the edge of the area, and they've got a really good free kick taker. They've got James Ward-Prowse, so now we have to look at every decision on the edge of the area because now it's a goal scoring opportunity. And then you start going, well, what's a goal scoring opportunity? Because if James Ward-Prowse has got a free kick on the edge of the area, it's a goal scoring opportunity. If
Edison yeah,
like then maybe it's not a goal, and that's part of the issue with Saka as well. Like, I think it was Peter Crouch said at half time, that's a goal scoring opportunity because it's Bukayo Saka. If it's Peter Crouch, it's not a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
So when do you start taking that into consideration? Like,
they? Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. And we're worried,
then you start having to look at it every time the ref blows the whistle. He has to go over to the screen. The game will be 5 hours long. It'd be like NFL. The game only says like 90 minutes, but you're there all week.
Yeah.
I watched, and just off topic, I watched the Super Bowl. I thought, how the fuck do you Americans watch this? This is still going, right? So when I'm going to go and make a coffee, I come back and I'm like, it's got a minute to go. And I'm looking at the fucking stop thing and I'm like, fuck, that's the longest minute I've ever fucking seen. It's still got 20 seconds. Fucking hell. But yeah, like, you make a good point. I do agree with you, but I'm just talking out loud, I guess, and working. Yeah, just having a podcast. So, joke of a decision, yellow card on Party. That's all for the cards, I think. Just trying to go
Xhaka
through
got
here.
a card later on. Obviously, you had
I'm going to ask you, boys. Willian came on, Party went off, and this is where I don't want to go down this way.
Hold on. You have to talk about some chances that happened before Willian came on.
Okay, well, you talk about
chances.
Them. Yep.
You've got the Odegaard chance, and you've got the Pepe one. But obviously,
Odegaard come on, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Pepe one first. So you got the Pepe chance now, where he's cut through, and then similar to his like Wolves finish, he's cut. Oh wait, I've even missed Emil Smith Rowe's chance.
Smith, I was going to say,
there was another chance. Yeah.
It's a great block. It's one of them. You go, great block, shouldn't have let him make it.
Yeah, I think he's cut through 2 players, jinked in, jinked out. For me, because you know what, Pepe was on the left, so I was thinking maybe he's going to square it to Pepe. So with me, it was either, if you're going to shoot, you need to hit the target, test the keeper, or you square it. But then it got blocked. It was a great block. I'll give him that. I think it was Tyrone Mings that blocked it. Yeah, that was that was good. But yeah, that one was unlucky because it was good quick feet from Emil Smith Rowe. Then you had the Pepe one where he drove into the box and then it came back onto his right foot. Just didn't get enough purchase, enough coal on it. As I says, like similar to his Wolves goal where he came on his right foot. It was hard.
He's done the right thing, but I think it's impossible to score because again, I think it was Mings again. He took the thing. If you're going around me, this ain't going in. Like, do you know what I mean? If the ball goes outside me, it ain't going in, and that's basically what happened.
Yeah,
I think that's one thing because Pepe didn't catch it properly and it went wide slowly. Yeah. People will half moan at him if he whipped that wide and it doesn't go in. People go, "Oh, unlucky." But for me, I just think I'm not sure if it was Mings. I think it was, but the angle they got their angles perfectly. Oh yeah, he just got that angle perfect that you couldn't be beat on that side. The chance that I don't even know if it goes down as a chance because nothing came of it. There was a cross. I can't remember. I think it was Saka and Smith Rowe at the back post is chilling. Like, look, we don't know if Smith Rowe shouted, so I'm not gonna sit here and blame Aubameyang. But if he didn't shout, he needs to be shouting, and he is like we see him. He's the type of player that doesn't mind shouting at people. Like
Smith Rowe shouted. Because Abba, if he saw Aubameyang's reaction, he was like, "Oh snap, you was there." That it was like the reaction of, I think was it a header? Aubameyang went for it. I remember.
He went for something where he couldn't have scored,
Yeah.
but if he left it, then Smith Rowe's got to tap
Yeah,
in.
Smith Rowe called it because even Aubameyang's reaction
Yeah,
to
it was a header.
The header, yeah. The Aubameyang's reaction to Smith Rowe, it was like, oh shit, yeah. But
See,
then
this is, everyone knows like I go on about I don't care about shots on target, and this is one of them cases when I come away from the game, people going, we only had 2 shots on target, blah blah blah, and I'm like, give me 10 of them chances over 10 shots on target any day. Like,
see, now that my only issue is with that, and just before I even talk about that, the Odegaard chance where it got cut back to him was it Smith Rowe? Was it Smith Rowe?
I'm not sure if it's him or Saka, but
yeah, one of them. And yeah, he tried to hit it too. He had to hit the target there for me, solely because as well, I saw the goal. I looked at Martinez. I wasn't even looking at Odegaard. I was looking at Martinez. Martinez, if you went back where the ball came from, Martinez was you're scoring because Martinez had already committed that you're gonna go across the goalkeeper. Martinez was never gonna get back across to his right hand side. And it was a thing where it's just like, just hit the target. Just hit the target.
But you know what? I actually think he tried to do that. To go that side.
Yeah. But then it just too much power. And then it just like that for me, that was the big one. I don't think any of the other chances they were like half chances. Like, again, how many saves did Martinez really make? Not that many, but that one was the real.
Yeah, look, that is a great chance, but this is where whether you want to call them chances or situations, that is where I prefer them over shots on target. Like, I say this all the time, and this is where like the XG nonces have a go at me. But, there was no XG. Yeah, Emil Smith Rowe's chance, if Aubameyang leaves it, so the situation's been made, is on XG should be like 80% or some shit. I don't know how these numbers work. The fact is, it goes down as nothing because it didn't come to that. But for me, I'd prefer that example every time over a pot shot from 20 yards that is never really going to go in. So this is where my argument from the game, and I think I mentioned it before you came on, that I didn't think the performance was that bad as a whole. And we created a lot of, as I said, situations that didn't become chances and didn't become shots on target, but I wasn't like angry with them. So many times, especially when Saka went to left back, we got in that inside channel. That the commentators kept going on about Cash, and you mentioned him, and I thought he was good for a bit, and then we was just getting in behind him at will, but not. I can see why people think it weren't his fault because it was overlaps and stuff. But for me, as a right back, you can't allow someone to get in behind you every time and then blame the winger for not tracking his man. Like, as I said, I wasn't mad with how we played, to be honest. I've seen people that were, and that's fair enough. That's up to them. But for me, this isn't in the category of the Burnley at home and the even Southampton at home.
It's not like
that.
It's just disappointing. It's like I said, I'm a long way from Arteta out at the moment. You know, when that fucking radar starts getting up, then look out. I've gone. You know, I'm liking what Arteta's done the last couple of games. I'm seeing changes. I'm seeing more than what I was seeing before Christmas. It was a few weeks there of holy fuck, this is going to be in for a long season. I still think
Tony's man.
yeah.
Let's be honest. It's because of that. But then the only thing is, Tony, the only thing I want to mention is that would you rather have the situations or would you rather have the chances on target or shots on target that Villa had? That's something I was angry about.
What's difficult for me is that, look, they can kind of go hand in hand. A shot on target can be a shit shot on target, or it can be a good situation. And Villa had both. They had good situations, which they converted to shot on target. What I'm talking about is when people have these pot shots from 30 yards. The keeper walks over with a beer in his hand and picks the ball up with his other hand, and people go, shot on target. Like, so for me, Villa had both. So I prefer the Villa.
Mm-hmm.
I love when his dog disagrees with him.
Yeah, that was just my complaint. We didn't really test Martinez. And as I said, we were in good situations, but we have to, at some point, we have to test the goalkeeper. We have to say, cool, okay, yeah, Martinez made a great save. Because Matt Ryan, I think I saw that he made, after Martinez against Liverpool, this was like the highest saves a Arsenal goalkeeper has had to make. And it was just with, I think he made seven saves, and they were very good saves. There were some saves, and to be fair, I was surprised.
What do you mean surprised?
He actually filled me with confidence because I don't know why before the game I said, "Oh my gosh, my gut is telling me Runnison should have played." I don't know why my gut was saying, I'm happy my gut was wrong. Like, because I think Runnison wouldn't have made the same. But Matt Ryan for me did well. They didn't put a real foot wrong, but then he was made to work on his debut for Arsenal. He was really made to work.
It was the first time I've probably. And we talk about how Arteta fixed our defence, and that was, at the start of the season. Oh, but look what he's done to the defence. We haven't conceded nowhere near as many goals as Emery. And that's just what people do. They compare to other managers and different things. But I think that's the first time that I've seen our defence since Arteta. And I don't know whether it was just Villa were pressing up good. I'm not sure, but we were open at the back, and things like Cedric's little pass back, I agree, probably 3 degrees off. Things like that, it's just individual errors, just cost us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, we finished. You finished on there, Eddie?
Yeah.
William comes on, Partey goes off. Now that's what we're talking about before. Was that because Partey was stuff?
Partey was injured. Went off, I think, five.
He was too. Yeah, okay. Okay.
He was injured.
Hate how we do games a couple of days later. Granite, yellow at the end. I don't remember what that was for.
I can't remember what it was for, but the funny thing, the thing that I was really surprised at, it said Granit Xhaka, yellow card, free for the season. I was like, what? Like, for Granit Xhaka to only have 3 for the season at this stage, like, people would put bets. When they you do your accumulators and it's like, oh, who's going to get a booking? Granit Xhaka is the guy that you put definitely to get a booking. When I saw 3, that was the only time I've ever been surprised with Granit Xhaka. They only had 3 bookings this year.
I'm not trying to praise myself as some form of oracle, but I say this all the time. He doesn't get booked or sent off anywhere near as much as everyone thinks. But because he's got that image, for some reason, every time he gets booked, like watch next game he gets booked, he'll get booked and Gary Neville will go, oh, he gets booked every time I watch him. Gary Neville says that. Every time Granit Xhaka gives away a foul, Gary Neville says, every time I watch him, he gives away 100 fouls. Look, you can please bookmark this, because next time Gary Neville's doing our game, he will say that. But the evidence just isn't there. But it depends how much you'll take. Look, I guess I don't know if I watch football differently because apart from the last year, I don't really hear commentators because I'm at the games. So that image has never been in my head because I see what I see. That, okay, he may give away a lot of fouls. He wins a lot of fouls. He very rarely gets booked. And he got sent off twice in his first year and then hadn't been sent off since until the Burnley game in December or late November. But the image is booking every week and 2 sending-offs a year. That's the public perception. It's just nonsense. Like when that 3 came up, I was like, yeah, probably. Like, do you know what I mean? I wasn't at all surprised, but most other people seem to have been. But that's just the image. Every time and I think he's sometimes quite harshly done by that. He makes 1 foul and it's a booking because the refs also have that perception of him.
Yeah.
Well, the last three, so 2018, 19, 2017, 18, 2016, 17, 5 yellow, 10 yellow, 10 yellow, 10 yellow, and it says so far this season 4. But you boys are saying 3.
Is that all competitions? Is that?
That's just Premier League.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. That's not including the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean, look, he got 10 in other years. We're basically 10, halfway in. And he's on 4, but he's missed 3 games with a suspension. So he's at about his normal figure, but for some reason, everyone's now surprised at that number.
Well, he started in 19 games, Tony.
Yeah, well, he usually starts every game. There's no.
Yeah, but I've just taken into account them 3 that he was out there. But I don't understand. And as you said, the first season, he got 2 reds and
one of them was never a red card. One of them was never a red card.
Who's the ref? Stupid ref, man.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but people seem to. Yeah, and even back in Germany,
people have perceptions of players, and as I said, what's more worrying is refs have perceptions of players, and some players can get away with fouls because they're seen as that type of player, or especially when players are seen as strong, they can basically push someone, and it's seen as strength, and so there's no decision because he was just stronger than him, and it's like no, it was a fucking foul, you get the opposite.
Yeah, I remember when we signed him, and I a lot of people, who's Granit Xhaka, and I remember, and I've just gone back and had a look now. So when he was in Germany playing there, he actually had 3. He got 3 red cards for 28 games.
I was going to say his last season, his disciplinary was poor, and that's why he came with that reputation. And it's just, I said, then he got sent off twice in his first year, one of which was in the September or October, so early on, which doesn't help. And it was never a red card, but it was the perception that the ref had.
Perception. That's right.
And then that's just never stopped. And look, it happens both ways as well. Like whenever they talk about the most fouled players in the league, it tends to be because there's a perception that they get fouled a lot, so the refs look out for it more. Every time he plays, the stat comes out that Grealish is the most fouled player in the league.
Yeah,
and he is. But there's 2 things: he goes down very easily. That's not to say he wasn't fouled, but he goes down very easily. And the refs are looking for it because they know he's the type of player that gets kicked. If we would have done to him what they done to Saka, we would have got 2 or 3 bookings because the perception is teams target Grealish, so stamp it out straight away. With Arsenal and with Saka, that perception is not there yet, and probably never will be because it never came with Jack, it never came with Walcott. It was just seen as Arsenal were a bit soft.
You see that with a lot of you see that. I see that with Harry Kane. I see that with Son. Like they go down a fair. Jack Grealish, I agree. He goes down lots. Lacazette, we always called for Lacazette. I think it was last season. We said, "Geez, I wish he'd just go down and stay down. Like he'd bounce back up, and it'd just be overlooked. But if he went down and stayed down, well, he'd probably be one of them players as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's going back to tactics. It milks the system.
Well, no, I mean, for me, you've got to have that in you. Like, again, this is an argument I had with someone on Twitter the other day. They were moaning about Salah diving, and I was like, "Is a middle ground because." Well, people argue when they're wrong. Like, if you want to argue with me, fine, but don't do it when you're wrong. So someone was arguing about Salah diving, and I was like, look, there is a middle ground. He was definitely fouled. I don't think anyone can watch that and say Diaz didn't foul him. He also, I don't know, do you want to call it a dive? Because a dive it's become to people's interpretation of it is no contact. If dive is completely no contact, then it wasn't a dive.
It was a dive, yeah.
But what he done, you can give it whatever word you want. It was a dive. He got tugged on the shoulder, and there must have been 3 snipers in the stand somewhere. Right. But it's a penalty. I'm not arguing the decision, but this is what you're going on to with certain players. It's the perception and the way they do it. Harry Kane's known for it, apart from by refs, or they just don't want to see it. It's the way he goes down. Salah does it all the time. And this is where you get a lot of Liverpool fans are very defensive, but he was fouled. I'm not arguing that. There's no argument. Diaz was a foul. And under the current rules, it should have been a red card. But the way he goes down will always get decisions, and it will always pose questions because it's just not natural. If I touch him like that on the shoulder in the street, he walks on.
Well, it's one that sticks. And look, I'm going to touch quickly. I don't watch much French league, right? So I don't watch much PSG at all unless they're in Champions League. Barcelona in Spain, I watched a few of their games, and I'm going to talk about Neymar. There's a classic one in that World Cup. Remember when he rolled over and kept rolling and roll? That image is just stuck in my mind as fucking hell. it's got to be like that with referees. They got to see that and go, watch this bloke. He's a diver. Like, they know.
I remember when Didier Drogba came into the league, I think he went down easy a few times, and then I think in that first season he didn't get pens that he should have gotten because he went down easy before they said, "Oh yeah, you're a diver." And I think he had an interview where it was like a mistranslation, and I think they got him to say, "Oh, that he goes down easy." So they have that.
Oh, they have that image. In Diego Costa, mate. They'd have him as fucking grub. Fucking grub. Watch this bloke. He's the grub. He was good at doing that though, wasn't he? Good at pissing me off, that bloke. Anyway, let's move on. 3, 2, 1, Tony.
Matt Ryan.
Woohoo!
I can't see how anyone can pick anyone else.
I know. I thought Partey had a good, decent game-ish.
Yeah, I thought Matt Ryan was much better. And look, I'm speaking to an Australian and Mr. Goalkeeping Union, so if either of you two ain't giving him 3, I'll be fucking.
Oh yeah, no.
2. I'm gonna go Saka, and I feel like he was the only threat again, basically. As I said, could have got Konsa sent off, and they just took him out the game, and he wasn't helped. But I thought if we were going to score, it was going to come through Saka, whether he was right, left, or central. And Partey, I don't know about Partey because he had a good game, but he didn't.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But then I don't know who did. I mean, Hector Bellerin is the worst player I've ever seen. I don't know why I need to bring that up.
You know when they say two minds think alike? Bellerin, I said to myself, I watched the game, I said, Bellerin should not play for Arsenal Football Club anymore. If we need to sell him to Barcelona and they want to pay 10 million, sell him. But yeah, honestly.
I'm just trying to think who to give my... You know what? No, I'm not going to give... No, I am. Fuck everyone. Xhaka was good. I feel like I'm Tez because I've gone Ryan and Xhaka as 2 of my 3, but like...
He was good.
Them passes, the passes he finds down the pass. Of course, he's in yours, but the passes he finds down the side as well. They look simple, but no one else does them. So you can either go, "Oh, that's easy," or go, "I'm going to give credit to the one guy who's doing them." So I'm going to go Ryan, Saka, Xhaka.
Addy,
Ryan, Partey, and Xhaka.
Yeah. I'm exactly as Tony. Matt Ryan, boys, move over Leno. I don't think Leno will start again for Arsenal this season.
What?
When you have a player on the bench called Matty Ryan, you are not. You're going to be pressed to get back in this Arsenal team, mate. Like seriously, the saves that he did. I'm trying to think of who's your best goalkeeper you've ever seen. Addy?
Black.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mate, that guy is...
Ever? Really?
Ever?
He's the best in the world right now. I've been saying for 3 years he's good right now. But ever? Come on.
Ever?
I'm probably Buffon.
Nah, see, Gianluigi, he was good. It was elite. Okay, ever? Okay, if I'm gonna... It's hard, man. That one's hard.
This has nothing to do with the conversation because now Tez is going to compare him, which is absolute nonsense.
But anyway, whoever you can sit there and think, whoever you can sit, Matty Ryan is up there. You're actually using your brain to sit there and think, fuck, Matt Ryan or I can't think of one. Matt Ryan or that's how you're thinking right now, Eddie. That's how you're thinking. Matt Ryan is possibly one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League last week.
Tony, has Tez been drinking? Just by any question.
No, he's Australian. They're born like that. Do you know there is some interesting things. Like Leno's going to get his place back and deserves to, obviously. But there is a few interesting things in that he's got a lot of strengths that Leno doesn't. All the journalists at the game, even the Villa ones, were all saying how much he talks and how much he commands a back line. So much so, I haven't watched it, but Arsenal released a feature on like the speaking on the pitch, and apparently it was all focused on
Yeah.
Matt Ryan. I've not seen it,
Yeah.
but all the journalists at the time were getting like, "Fucking hell, we don't shut up!" Like, and Pete, I've been saying this since the day we signed him. People think Leno can kick, he can't, and Matt Ryan is much better at it. So hopefully them two factors rub off on Leno, but they didn't with Emmy, who had both of them factors as well. So I doubt it. But this is not saying.
No, sorry. I was going to ask: are you boys confident now that we have a good, decent backup keeper, right? Okay, look, Leno's not going to lose his spot, and he deserves not to. But are you confident now going into the Europa League with Matt Ryan?
I don't think Matt Ryan can play. I think for Europe, because we came out of the FA Cup, he has to
fucking mute that bloke. Do not ever speak about Matt Ryan like that again.
Well, no, Arteta has said before that he wants a number one keeper that plays every game, and then he'll give rest if he thinks that number one keeper's needed, which is the reason he was happy to sell Martinez. So I think it'd be incredibly harsh on Matt Ryan to not play. But I understand. Look, if I'm sitting here right now, I think probably Leno played, which is kind of what Addy's saying. But I think under any other manager and any other philosophy, Ryan would be playing, and we'd all be pretty happy with it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I personally would play him for competition because he's doing stuff that Leno can't and doesn't, and then it makes Leno realise that he's got competition and can't just rest on his laurels.
The only way Matt Ryan plays in Europa League is if Leno plays in the first leg and we're up like 4-5-0, then Matt Ryan plays the second leg. That's the only way.
It's going to be moved. It's going to be moved.
Yeah, I saw.
Well, no, I don't know if you know. So we're Rome away and Olympiacos at home, or Athens at home. But Athens is going to be moved.
Yeah, they changed the Greek one.
Well, it's not been, as far as I know, it's not been confirmed, but they're saying they're going to change it. Depending on where it is, we've got Leicester away on the Sunday, and Greece is about as far away as you can fucking get. So if it was there, would there be a case for leaving Leno at home with a hard game? But then do you really need to rest? I think it'd be,
Against how many days till the next game against
3?
Leeds?
So it'd be Thursday night and then Leicester away on the Sunday.
Oh, Leicester.
But
okay.
I think, look, as I said, I think under every other manager, Matt Ryan would play. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays, and as I said, I think he should. But Arteta has said before he wants a number one keeper.
But I wonder whether that was before he had. Then again, we had Martinez.
No, he said it. That's why he sold Martinez.
Martinez, whatever his fucking name is. Could call that cunt wrong name. Martinez, yeah. Anyway, boys, let's continue moving on. That's that game done and dusted. We've got a game coming up. We'll worry about that next week because I think previews are boring. I want to touch on the news that hit the headlines.
Before we do that, because it's more about the game. Take the miss aside, I thought Odegaard looked really good when he came on.
Yeah, I thought he did too. Yeah, I thought he did too.
He played a ball to Pepe at the end, where Pepe's touch was horrendous, but the pass was fucking outrageous. Like, it's a good player, man. Good player.
Yeah. Actually, but you have reminded me. I better play this before we do, and I'm just going to touch on a couple of questions first before I go into that other discussion because questions are about the game.
For Gooners everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. For match highlights, interviews, and the best Arsenal videos and podcasts. Download the free Gunners app now from the App Store and Google Play.
Okay, so if you are listening live, you can drop your questions. I do have a couple of questions that come through on Twitter because we finally put up a question thread. Golson fan, he says, are we shit without KT, Tony?
We're better with him. But
we're shit without him. I think this is the Cedric pass. People are looking at the Cedric pass.
Yeah, look, Cedric was man of the match at Southampton, which we won. He was good against United. Yeah, he was not bad at all against United. Wolves, he got beat a bit by Adama. Like, fucking who doesn't? Like I've seen KT have good games against Adama. I've seen him have a bad game against Adama. It's Adama. Like the cunt's rapid and wedge. Like just if he's on it, he's on it. There's not much you can really do. And then, yeah, look, Cedric made a mistake. I don't think his whole game was bad, but when it's a game losing contribution, you're going to question it. But look, is KT our best left back? Of course he fucking is. Are we better with him in? Yeah. I wouldn't say we're shit without him.
Okay, Golson fan says, and I was going to bring this up, I'm glad he reminded me. Talk of Arteta getting an improved and extended contract based on what could be an awful season. Do you guys think this is wise? Addy?
If Arteta gets a new and improved contract, then we've gone bonkers.
I
Because
agree.
For me, when we did our top four, I think I put Arsenal third. The team that we signed, the squad that we had at the start of the season, for me, are capable of playing at being around there enough the top four. And looking at this season, how poor this season has been, the quality of the season has been, and everybody has been everybody. The fact that we're where we are, I think at this current moment in time, imagine if the season stopped now. Obviously, it hasn't. There's still games to play. Judged on where we are now, this season has been an utter failure for me. So I can't understand how you can reward failure. You can't reward failure. So again, now imagine if he now gets us to the top four, and for me, that was our main target, to get to the top four. Then you can say, okay, yeah, you've reached your target. But if he does not reach even minimal target of even Europa League again, you can't reward failure. You cannot reward failure. For me,
I agree, mate. I agree totally. And I had this conversation with Glenn, who's a mate of mine, an Arsenal fan, but we talked a bit of Arsenal at times as well. And I said, how it's stupid. It's just the dumbest thing. Like, if he gets, like, I'm not sacking the bloke yet, but I'm not rewarding the bloke a contract, because if you reward him a contract based on failure, one, where does that set the bar? Two, come next season, we're in the same position, won a couple, lost a couple, we're sitting in 11th, and then you go to sack him. What's that do for the next bloke coming in? Oh, this team are happy to pay out managers. They're happy to give you a rewarded I don't get it. I just can't understand it for the life of me. Even talk of it. Manchester United, they done it with Mourinho, and then they sacked him, and then they really they got Ollie, and now it's talk there, but like they never went out and got a really, really good manager, did they? You know, he was the caretaker manager. Then they felt like, oh, he done us all right, so we better reward him. And hey, they are in second now, but he's doing a pretty good job, I guess. Well, I think he is. I don't watch much of their games, or I don't interact with many of their fans, but they seem happy. I think it's fucking crazy. I really do. I think it's fucking crazy. Tony, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, you're both wrong. I just wanted to say that. I do disagree. I do disagree with points that you said, though. First of all, they should have done it in the summer because they changed his job. So naturally, your job changed. You take on more responsibility, you get paid more. Like, that's life. Not forget football, forget results. If you give me more responsibilities at work, believe me, you're paying me more. So they should have done it in the summer. And maybe this is just an after thing of that. Second point is if they put a new contract in, it may even just to be we'll pay you more, but we get a clause in it that if X, Y, and Z doesn't happen, we can get rid of you cheaper. In which case, that's not a bad contract. How many times you see players sign new contracts where they're in the short term it's not so good, but then they get a cheap release clause after, or say Upamecano, where his wages basically got doubled overnight, but his release clause stayed the same. So he gets another year and he knows he's got his get out in a year. So again, I would imagine there'll be a break clause put in because we know there was with Emery. I'd imagine it wasn't initially with Arteta because one, he's probably on low wages, and two, we needed someone so desperately that it would have been just fucking write the contract quick, and it was Husfami who couldn't negotiate his way out of a paper bag. So I'd imagine more money because he's now manager, I think is fair enough. I'd imagine there's a break clause. which again makes sense. I would rather him on a new contract with slightly more money with a break clause. And thirdly, if it leads to us backing the young players and saying to the young players, okay, the manager just, so say Martin and Saka, not so much, he's just signed the contract, but Martinelli, Smith Rowe, maybe even KT, because he's been here 2 years now. Like, we're going to reward all of you lot with new contracts, and the manager's going to stay here. So it's not going to be a case of, I'll get you new contracts and send you back to reserves. The guy who's been integrating you into the Premier League team is going to be here with you. Again, I would still have a break clause in there. I'm not saying it's particularly an amazing decision to give him a new contract now, but there is reasons why I think it would be a okay or wise decision. I'm not completely like you two who think it's just dumb, although I get what you're saying, but I think there's more to it than just they're not rewarding failure is basically the point I'm trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. No, fair enough.
It's all right, you can both admit I'm right, it's fine. This Just for anyone listening to this back, Addy is nodding along with me like the Churchill dog. So he knows I'm right.
Look,
and Ted is probably done.
The only thing was that with the name change and making a manager, position change, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can actually, bang. Everything after that, hell no. Everything from that is based on what he's there now.
But with the break clause, whatever you want to call it, release clause.
About your break clause.
No, but you don't. Just because you're either not listening or you don't understand. No, you don't. If you think it's stupid, you don't understand.
No, break clause.
I get your break. I understand what you're saying.
So how can you say you don't care with something that will benefit us? You're seeing it as odd. A break clause benefits us.
If that's the case, though, Tom. Like if that's
but that's how we do contracts. Emery had a break clause. Everyone knows Emery had a break clause.
But then, the only thing with Arteta, I think it might even be cheaper to even get him out of his current contract because I don't think he's on huge wages.
No, I don't think he is. But that's what I'm saying. It's up to them. But I can't sit here and say it's a ridiculous idea to offer him a contract without knowing what's gone into it. As I said, if there's a break clause, which there almost certainly will be, if they're paying him for his new role and responsibility. That's fair enough. I mean, you saying I don't care about the break clause is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
No.
I don't care about things that make it better for us. So, okay, give him £200 million.
I understand the break clause. I understand the break clause, and I understand that. What I'm getting at is I don't care about it. Is well, probably wrong term of words. I do care about it, but I don't care what if you've got a 1 year break clause and it's a $24 million payout or whatever it is, I don't know what that is. But I'd imagine every new contract would be an increased break clause. So all of a sudden,
a break clause isn't an amount. A break clause is an amount. Well, it is an amount. It's an amount you agree prepaid to pay them off if they are sacked.
Pay them out. Yeah, if they're sacked.
So it wouldn't be.
I'd imagine that's $5 million now.
No, so as of now, it'll be you have to pay up his whole contract, as we've just seen with Ozil. Whether he agreed to take less is what we're led to believe, but we don't know. In theory, Arsenal had to pay up the whole contract of Mustafi, Ozil, Socrates, etc. If you have a break clause, it might be we can get rid of you, but only pay you half the wages of the remaining contract.
Yeah.
So instead of having to pay Ozil for 6 months, we would have had to pay him for 3 months. So it's not a break clause is 5 million now, but 10 million in your next contract. That's not how it works at all. So a break clause is only beneficial to Arsenal. So, okay, Arteta might get more money short term right now, but if you need to get rid of him, you've just saved yourself X amount of £1 million.
Anything that you do, though, is going to be benefiting him, I'd imagine, because you're rewarding him.
If you're giving him more money in the short term and more job security by saying, look, I don't know how long he signed. Was it 2.5 or 3.5 years?
I'm not sure. Not sure. Yeah.
But even, of course, look, there's going to be some give and some take, but it gives him job security. If you're doing well, we are going to back you. We're going to give you more money, wage-wise, if he cares about that. He probably will. We're going to give you more money, more job security if you're doing well. If not, you're not doing your job properly. So this is what's going to happen to get rid of you.
Do you think we're doing well though now?
No.
To reward that,
it's not a reward. This is where I think you two are looking at it incorrectly.
It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade because now you're the manager, not the coach.
No, but that's done. That's nothing to do with the contract.
Yeah, that's not mine. But we forgot about you back in the summer, so now we're going to revisit that now.
The job title, the contract should change with it. Whether we said we needed funds for X, Y, again, you don't know what he's been told. We need funds for X, Y, Z, so you will get a pay rise, but we're going to look at it slightly later in the year. Okay. Like, I think you're looking at it completely wrong and seeing it as a reward.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
As I said, look, no, it is a reward.
Disagreeing. I'm not.
I'm going to correct myself. It is a reward, giving him more money because he's now the manager. But for me, that is a reward he or anyone deserves, because a manager and a head coach are a completely different job. And as I said, if I was the cleaner of kitchens at work and they said, now you got to do the toilets too, I want more money. And I don't think anyone can disagree with that.
He signed a 3.5-year deal.
It's 3.5
years. Yeah. So what's he got? Year and a half to go.
2.
Yeah, 2.
He's been there just over a year. So it'll be 2 in the summer.
Yeah. 2. Yeah. Okay.
Which is also, by the way, about the time you should be negotiating contracts. Because if he starts doing well and then leaves in 2 years because he's out of contract, we're all going to cry about it. Everyone always says start negotiating contracts 2 years out, but that's the time. As I said, if there's a break clause in it, which I'd be fucking amazed if there isn't, because that's what we do, I have no problem with it. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I don't think it's a terrible idea, which you two seem to.
No, I don't know. I see where you're coming from. I don't, and I agree the break clause is a good idea. I totally get that, but I would have been under the impression that he's on. I know I'm just going to make some figures up, right? Because you did talk about a toilet cleaner and cleaners, but I'm just thinking like, okay, I'm paying this bloke $100 a week. He's doing not a lot. He's coming 11th. Yes, we've now given him the name badge of manager.
It's not just a name badge, though, is it? It's a fucking completely different job.
Yeah. No, he's got more roles.
Completely different job.
He's got more. Okay.
Yeah. I even think they were saying that Edu, whereas Edu was above him. They're either on the same. I think they're on the same level now.
It just in terms of transfers.
Yeah. In terms of yeah. But then whereas before because he was head coach, he had to work within that.
Within the Rail and a couple other blokes there, wasn't there? Yeah. And the other thing is, remember when we were talking, there was talk of Arteta out and that, and we spoke about who's gonna. I think you mentioned it, Tony. Who's gonna sack him? Because you have no boss.
Yeah, I think that's
But I mean, again, my point was not who's going to sack him, is who's going to have the knowledge to replace him. He does have a boss and he is sackable. It's not like Wenger was for so many years where he basically wrote his own checks. Like Wenger paid his own wages essentially. It's not like that. There is people above him. My point was no one has the knowledge to replace him. So there's Vinay who's above him. There's still a board. There is still a chairman. I mean, they're nominal. Josh Kroenke, technically Stan on paper, but Josh Kroenke still runs a company and can still sack him. They don't have the knowledge to, but that is what it is.
It's interesting because I would just hold off till this season. I'd just wait this season, see what happens, sit down, renegotiate over the summer, and say, okay, these are our expectations. Top 4 Europa League champ, whatever that is, and if you don't meet this by this, you're going to be out. I agree with you. I like the idea of a get-out clause as well. Like I'm not.
But there's also the point that we know full well, and he knows full well, that to get rid of him, they'd probably have to pay a proper manager double because, as we said, he's not on very much wages, and they would have to pay him off. So if you're looking financially, paying him more and a break clause is also the better decision financially. Because you ain't gonna, if we sack him, you're gonna have to go for a name to get you back in. Obviously, he's not available, but I know Ancelotti was mentioned before. You think he's coming on silly wages? The guy's the fucking second highest paid manager in the league, and he's at Everton.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's not coming.
So
He's
now
not.
sack Arteta, you pay him off for 2.5 years now, and bring someone in, an Allegri, for example, on probably close to Guardiola money.
Yeah,
So it's not like we can just decide to sack him and it's financially a good decision. It's financially a horrible decision, which is, again, why another benefit from the club's point of view of getting in a break clause.
he signs a new contract next season. He's almost unsackable.
Not with a break clause.
Okay.
Yeah. I would agree with that. But that's why I wouldn't want Arsenal to offer a new contract, even with a break clause.
I think he's more unsackable now.
You think?
Yeah, because we'd have to pay him up fully, and whoever comes in to replace him would be a stupid, like a name manager who it ain't coming for low money. So not obviously the Arteta package would be different with a full contract, but the whole package for me, I don't know, but as I said, if we replaced him with Sam Allardyce or Eddie Howe, then yes, of course it would be cheaper, but people would lose their heads rightly. Now you're looking at Allegri or a. I look at
Nagelsmann.
What do you think Allegri's doing though? Like, let's just look at the other side for a minute. No, but let's look at the other side for a minute, right? You're sitting there. You've been sacked from your last position, right? You're sitting there and you're like, nobody's wanting.
He left. Oh,
yeah, he did leave, but it was pretty much right and was on the wall.
Not Milan, Juve. He left Juve.
Juve just won the league.
Yeah, he just left.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, yeah, he didn't get sacked, but he left. You know, you left. Okay, probably Allegri's not a good example here. But let's look at your Ancelotti, who's at Everton, right? And let's look at for a minute why he went to Everton. He's sitting there. He ain't got a job. Exactly, money. But does he?
No, just money.
You reckon?
No, just money.
There's no way. There's no way.
Highest paid in the league.
Yeah. There's no way he's going from Napoli, Champions League football, all of that, to Everton. Everton Football Club, no way. It's cash, and obviously you can look at the project. They're saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to pump money into the club. We want to make the Everton a great team and the challenger." So obviously the project would help, but he ain't going there solely because of a project. Because the money's similar to Rafa Benitez. He had good offers in the UK, but man chose was China. Yeah, because the money was.
I wonder how much he's getting.
I think he's stupid.
Benitez ran head first into Wuhan for cash. They didn't give a fuck. Guy went Wuhan, no mask. Like they don't care.
Kane just scored in the FA Cup, leveling it to 4.
It's a crazy game.
Wow.
It's absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah, I've got it in the background.
Rush goalkeeper, I heard.
Honestly,
crazy.
it's silly.
Okay, boys, let's 12
million a year. 12 million a year for Rafa Benitez.
I thought it was more than that. I thought it was more. But that's still just shy of 250k a week for a manager. That would be us.
He doubled his wages. He was on 6 million at Newcastle. Doubled his wages.
How long is that for? 2-year contract or something.
I think it's tax free or very tax light as well.
How are they going in the league? I've got no idea.
I couldn't even name the team. No one cares. He doesn't know the team name. He doesn't. He thinks he works for the Chinese yen. He just sees money in his bank. He don't give a fuck.
Right, let's move on. Hakon Larson, he's funny, old Hakon. He comes out. It was very naive to think we could recreate the first 45 minutes from the Wolves game, wasn't it? Shame I really thought we could do something in this game. Baffling how bad we are in the final third. I do agree with that a little bit. So it was, yeah. Adam, what positions are we focusing on in the summer? I feel we need to cover left back, 2 centre midfields, a creative midfield. Who can play wide and focus point striker? Boys?
All I was going to say is that there's a lot of positions we need to focus on. Because again, Ceballos, Odegaard will go back.
Allegri.
Egglesman. But yeah, you can need another winger. It depends on what's happening with Willian, but I think we still need another winger. Centre midfielders, left back is paramount, right back is paramount, and I do think we will need a centre back. So I don't know what's happening with Luiz's contract. I don't think we're gonna.
Nah, he'll be gone. I think, Luis.
Yeah. So
I think we'll offer an extension.
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think you're gonna definitely. Would you say striker after Aubameyang? If you're looking at Aubameyang last season, you're thinking, why do we need a striker? And obviously we offered him a new contract. But then now you got your questions. Do we need a new striker? That's the problem. That's the problem. But a striker wouldn't be my top focus. Definitely.
The issue with us as a striker is we need a unicorn. We need someone that can hold the ball up and also run. They tend to not exist because generally hold-up men are quite strong and muscly. And in general, if you've got a lot of muscle, you can't run too fast because muscle's heavy. That's the problem.
We need a Murata.
That guy. I don't know how he's made it as a footballer, but
he's fucking hopeless, isn't he?
Man.
I don't know. I like Dybala. I like him.
He doesn't answer any of our problems. He's a good player, but doesn't answer anything.
Yeah, he doesn't answer our problems. No. Isn't it funny though? Like we moved forward a couple of years, and you think, well, if only we had Giroud. Like I know, you know what I mean. Like, but that gives you another option. It gives you another option. Like, okay, forget Lacazette or Aubameyang for a minute, and pretend. Look, obviously Lacazette signed first, but when Lacazette signed, look, Giroud obviously then left over to Chelsea. But do you boys think, shit, if we had kept him and not signed Aubameyang, and I'm probably just clutching at straws to be honest, but like,
Tez, mate,
it's something shit. We need. It's something
shit,
mate. Let's move on. Fuck you, then. Who else did you think in the summer, Tony? Any positions?
There's two different questions. We're answering what we need. I mean, I need £1 billion, but it ain't gonna fucking happen. So I'm not gonna spend ages talking about it. Like between Addy, you, and whoever it was that asked the question, we've listed 15 positions we need upgrades in.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I agree. But what's the point? Like, we might get upgrades in 2. So
keep in mind, Matty Ryan is only on loan, so unless we sign him for next season,
we're going to be looking for a goalkeeper, isn't it? His contract's up.
Yeah.
So we throw him a new contract for next season. You know, that's money there.
I mean, I think that would have been, forget the game the other day where he played well. I think that would have been the 4 anyway, the same as with Cedric was last year.
Yeah.
But look, what I guess the better question would be, what's the most important positions to upgrade? I mean, look, coming out with we need 2 centre midfielders and a fullback, like 2 fullbacks and a striker and an attacking midfielder that can play wide. Like, yeah, we do. But as I said, what's saying that going to achieve? How much do you want us to go and spend? Like, we need Mbappe. Everyone needs Mbappe. But I'm not going to mention it because it's fucking stupid.
Right, boys, I'm just about to wrap this up because I do have to go. However, I want to touch just quickly on Saliba. Addy, there was a video posted. I don't know if you've seen it on social media. It was from the Snapchat. There has been a little bit of shit come out of that. I had a Tottenham fan yesterday tell me that he's actually looking at child pornography because that kid that he did video was 17 at the time. And I was like, fucking what? So,
Tez, just to cut you up there, I don't think anyone knows who the kid was, but Saliba was 17 at the time, which is the story.
Yeah. Saliba was young. I think it was even almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago. So I was reading a bit about it this morning, mate. What's your take on it, buddy?
Obviously, for it to get for it to pop up now, obviously someone would have been waiting for it. Obviously, the video is bad, which is why the French Federation are looking into it. So, like, to be fair, there's not much more you can even do. Like, even from the video, the video was bad, like 100%. Like, shouldn't be doing that. But like, he did it. He's gonna face repercussions. That's 100%. And then you're just gonna have to see where it goes from there. But then even I thought he was even gonna bring up his comments on Arteta.
I didn't because I wasn't going to go into that too much because Tony did say that it was behind The Athletic and which is paywall, so obviously we couldn't watch the full interview, but apparently it wasn't in context of what the headlines say.
This is what I said to Tez. I don't know if this is true. I saw The Athletic say earlier, if you get the whole interview translated, what he said wasn't bad at all. It was really reasonable. But if you take one line out of it, saying Arteta judged me on 2.5 games, it sounds really bad. I've not read the full quote, so I might be wrong, but that's what The Athletic said. So that's what I said to Tez before the show. In terms of the video, I couldn't care less. Like, I understand why the French Football Federation are getting involved because he's wearing their kit. Had he been wearing his Puma tracksuit with no club on it, just the one he went and brought or his Gucci tracksuit that he went and brought from the shop, I really don't see why anyone should give a shit. Like, we've seen Dele Alli with brasses, Rooney with brasses, like Rooney with someone's nan.
Grandma,
yeah, like no one cares. Like, I don't get it. Like, okay, it shouldn't be. You don't really want to see it released, but so fucking what? Like, the club can't do anything. As I said, French are going at it, brings them into disrepute because he's wearing their kit or their tracksuit. And like, I get that. It's damaging their brand. But in reality, they ain't going to do anything either. They're going to tell him off. That's it. Like, I think people are going mad about it. Like, with well, not so much Dele Alli, but with Rooney, it was a big case because he was either England captain at the time or at least England best player, maybe both. When we've seen Giroud with a brass, no one cared. Like, just is what it is. Like, it's a video. Wenger was it?
The only one, to get this down into a bit of, I agree with the, wearing the French, whatever it is. I totally understand where they're coming from their side, right? What I can't understand, boys, is who released it 3 years later and why. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you've had a video 3 years ago, like I got one of Schwinn there, right? I'm not going to release that video. Hey, Schwinn. I'm not going to release that video 3 years later just to bring Schwinn into disrepute. I'm like,
bigger impact. Bigger impact.
Well, I was going to say, there's two reasons. One is whoever had it still his friend, presuming it was his friend or someone close to him. Are they still close to him? Have they fallen out? Is it revenge? Secondly, was it worth much money when he was a nobody and no one heard of him?
Yeah.
With the press saying, we'll pay you $1,000 for it. Now there's a big thing that English media are involved. We'll pay you 50 grand for it.
Yeah.
But again, I just really don't care. Like, people have gone so over the top about it.
That is it. It's literally cool. You got caught in a compromise moment, similar with Lacazette and the gas canisters. Cool.
I thought you was going to say Lacazette and the bird. I was going to say, that ain't him.
No, that's not him. I said that his bicep is bigger than my head in that one.
I don't think, like, there's talk about charges and things like that, and I don't know much about
anything wrong.
No, but that's what I was going to say. Is it the bloke who actually put it out there who's in the wrong, because like if you're just doing a video in your own privacy of, like, okay, in this case the change room, and it hasn't gone anywhere, I'm not real sure what Saliba's in the shit for. Even if he's in the French fucking tracksuit or whatnot, still it wasn't him who distributed it to the public.
Well, I mean, I think the point is it would have been him at some point if he's filmed it. He might not have made it available to the press, but for him, he's A. For it to get to B, it's gone from A. The press might be Z, so it might have gone from B, who shared it on Snapchat, someone screen recorded it, sent it to their boy, who sent it to their girl, or whatever. But he's A. Like, whatever way you look at it, he is A, because he's filming it.
No, it's nothing compared to what you see over here anyway. We got NRL.
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, rugby people are mad. They piss on each other's heads for fun. Like, it's on
today. Piss in their mouths and all sorts of shit, mate. Yeah, like. So yeah, no, like I'm not. To start with, when I first seen it, I thought, oh fuck. But now I'm like, nah, I don't know.
No, I don't. For me, not.
Okay, boys. Well, that's about us, because we have gone for 1 hour and 50 minutes. Sandeep, how are you, buddy? Shared out to you. MAA Gunner, Ray, Rohan, Ray again, PM Dungal. Thanks to everybody else for coming into the chat. You'll get this on your podcast app. Patrons, once again, thank you for you guys for supporting the show. Cheers, guys. We'll be back next week, I guess.
Yep.
All righty. Good night and goodbye. See ya.